Jade and Laura have stuck around very gamely all morning. Thanks, guys. So let's go into the first one that you've got picked out for us, the FT.
Yes, so this is Burnham's big summer tour.
When he gets back from Holes, yeah?
When he gets back from Holes, yeah, exactly. So next week he'll get on the road for a summer tour of high streets. So this is sort of part of his policy blitz, where he'll be speaking about a revival of the high streets. He's obviously talked about business rates discounts for pubs and social clubs and venues already, but he's looking to go further, talking about exactly what that means. He's talking about a crackdown on sort of antisocial stores such as vape shops, which I think are quite clever politics, and sort of talking to that retail element of his offer. I think this is actually very smart politics. Obviously, there's going to be flashpoints along the way, and this article alludes to them. But this is very smart politics because the more people see of him, the more they like him. And you can see that he's obviously had this Burnham bounce. He's currently got a +20 approval rating in the polls, which is quite extraordinary, however long that continues. He'll continue to face those sort of contentious issues, but it's a smart politics to use the summer whilst he can, to go out on the road, to operate from number 10 North now, and to tour all of those places that initially the party was talking about, sort of those that could potentially be susceptible to switching to reform or wherever it may be, to get him out there and get him talking to people.
I think it'd be interesting. I mean, summer road shows, classic from the past. I don't know if they'd still do them, but Burnham's going to start his road show. I do wonder whether some of these controversial things he's going to try and deal with before he starts meeting members of the public, because that's going to be the thing journalists are following around, which I'm sure we will be. We're asking him those tough questions, and it's going to kind of throw off the mojo.
And he's going to go to nations and regions. So I think, local journalists, for example, it would be a good chance for them to kind of show that their power and actually show that type of journalism can hold people to account. But he'll be tapping into the whole pride of place agenda that the government are really pushing. And I do think that is important. But, these big issues, as it says in this article here about the early release, cost of living, what might come up in the budget, I think all those issues are going to be there. So there is sort of, a little bit of
There's a bit of jeopardy in there, yeah, definitely. And I'm sure we'll be following him around. He has his own sort of setup and how he likes to put his stuff out on social media, which I'm sure he will be doing. But those questions will definitely get asked. There are questions being asked here of the new Defence Secretary. Take us through this reporting, if you can, please, Laura.
Yeah, sure. So this is in the Telegraph. So story saying that Reform believe that Wes Streeting, so our Defence Secretary, should be investigated over some donations that he's received from a think tank linked to one of the world's most notorious fraudsters. And it's about, failing to comply with the Commons registration. So all MPs have to put what they receive, gifts, donations in kind, on the registered members' interests. And I think, it's another kind of story in the whole big narrative of who's funding politics, how it's reported, regardless of what party you are. But I think it's quite interesting where we are politically with by-election coming up and obviously the new government. So I think we're sort of the early stages at this, but clearly there's questions that people want to know the answers to.
And obviously there are donations, there are still investigations into donations that Nigel Farage received from a crypto billionaire. A spokesman for Streeting has said he's never had contact with the fraudster at the heart of this story and was never in discussion with LLT, which is this organisation called Labour for the Long Term. What do you make of the reporting, Jake? Because it's not the first time I've seen this, it's the first time I've sort of heard the demand of the inquiry, but this idea of the funding's been sort of bubbling away for a...
Yeah, it shows the jeopardy of sort of the various... There's obviously various gaps between the point where it got to the defence sector, and it's always obviously the jeopardy of accepting donations, and then there's several iterations back where it could come from, presumably, as it seems to be often, a crypto funder in some sort of scandal. Our good friend Crypto Returns. There is something to be said about the politics of this from Reform, of course, because there is a lot of jeopardy of them bringing this up right now, given they are also in muddy water with their own scandal as well. So they may be thinking that this is good politics, but I wonder if it'll actually come back to bite them in terms of, people are still quite angry about the Nigel Farage story. So it remains to be seen how it impacts Clacton in particular.
Well, I think would probably have more resonance if Parliament was in session, but of course in recess it's more difficult in the summer, but we'll see what happens come September if it's still knocking around. OK, let's move to this one in the Express. I'll read out the headline. 110,000 elderly households owe money on their fuel bills, apparently.
Yeah, it's true. So this research that's come out showing that more than 80,000 single older households and nearly 30,000 elderly couple households have fallen behind with their fuel bills. Now, obviously, it's not just limited to that demographic, but it's just showing what energy poverty, fuel poverty is really having that bite. And this is a campaign and express of, campaign to save the pension triple lock. But groups are saying that the government is not really doing anything to alleviate those cost of living pressures, and that sort of VAT cut, which is only going to be about £45 off bills, is really not going to make any difference, which I think is true. And it just taps into that whole narrative of the cost of living and what the government is trying to do, the other stories that we've referenced today around energy and net zero. So, yeah, really, really concerning, particularly as I know, heat wave again, lucky us, but, looking forward to bills rising in the autumn and the winter months. It's going to have an effect, isn't it?
And people are already thinking ahead, and of course, if you're a single pensioner on a very fixed income, it's going to be really difficult to make those ends meet when the bills do rise. I'm sure they will, coming into the autumn. All right, move on to a story here. I think that's the Telegraph again. Yeah, it is the Telegraph, about this bottle of Guinness. I'm quite into this. Go on, tell us about the report.
Yes, this was the cliffhanger from our last session. So this is about divers who found a 162-year-old pint of Guinness off the coast of Dover, and they plan to rebrew it.
Yes.
I wonder what that would taste like, and I'm not entirely sure I'd be convinced, but they think there is a possibility that the pint is still drinkable if seawater had not seeped through.
Jane, voices in my head are telling me it's definitely not a pint, it's a bottle.
A bottle,
it's sealed.
a bottle, OK, a bottle. No, not a pint in a pint glass. No, that would be odd.
That would how do you keep it under the water? Definitely be odd. Anyway, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but they're going to try and see if they can rebrew it and give it a taste. I mean, just the fact it's 162 years old, I think it's brilliant that they were brewing Guinness way back then.
But it's also like tapping into the vintage vibes, isn't it? We've seen it with other brands, and I think, how to diversify, attract new customers, obviously people that are into all this and collectibles. So let's wait and see. Maybe you can test it.
Well, there are 24 bottles apparently. I'm just seeing here. So you never know. You can send one my way and see if I can maybe a taste test for you. I do also love the fact that they went down there and they found a crate of beer, which is nice.
Very
no gold,
British.
nothing else but some beer to have a nice little drink. All right, where are we here? There we go. In the Times, that red box there that's pictured, which is the ministerial box, isn't it? Donald Trump was meant to get one, but he didn't, apparently.
No, he didn't. And this is, obviously the burning question. What gift did he get from the king? And we know what the king got from him. It was that... Donald Trump got the gift from the king. It was the bell.
Yes.
But yes, the red box apparently had been made, had been commissioned, but the president had not had it yet. But he's going to get it further down the line. And
why didn't they give it to him at the time?
Well, I think sort of, state diplomacy and what was going on with our ambassador and...
Oh, we were withholding it.
Indeed,
a little bit
indeed.
OK.
But it's on its way.
He doesn't even realise he's missed out on his lovely red box.
But they're very collectible. They're also very expensive to be made. And I know, lots of sort of secretaries of state, cabinet ministers that I've worked with before, they always wanted to keep those or the nice folders that you often would see them walk at number 10 with, because it's quite nice, isn't it, on your coffee table, or keep your nail polish in if you're one of the girls. I don't know what people
so
do.
You worked in government, so do they not get to keep it after they finish being a minister?
So they're supposed to pay for them. So I say supposed to. So
pay for them and then what? And then have to give it back to someone?
Well, you can keep them.
OK, fine. So once you pay for it, you can have it. But there's a memento of your time in government.
There are places where you can get them commissioned. So, when people have been watching The Crown, example, there's a supplier. But, I think it's quite quirky, isn't it? So I'm sure President Trump will be looking forward to putting that in the very blingy Oval Office.
I bet he can't wait to receive his red box.
Imagine going into the office with one of those.
Yeah.
I love it. Really good. Where are we now? TikTok. OK. Yes. TikTok, Japanese culture. So this is all about Japanese milk buns, which if Anna was here, she would tell everyone that I have become a bit obsessed with over time. Not because of TikTok, just because they're delicious.
Of course,
so what's happening here?
Yes, so this is a new TikTok trend where these Japanese milk buns, which is sort of a sweet version of a bun, which they're called shokopan in Japan. They've become incredibly popular since sort of a rise of various TikToks about them. 617% rise in their sales in Waitrose over the past month.
Wow.
So clearly they have become quite a staple. It's just quite interesting as a general thing about how much TikTok is propelling these various bits of bobs.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, have you tried one? Do you know? Have you?
I have not yet tried one, but
I have.
I hear
Nice.
you have.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
nice.
I've got a sandwich made of one right now.
There you are.
Yeah.
Well, and then the sando, which is when they make a sandwich from it and put fresh sweet and cream in. I wasn't so much of a fan of that, but the buns are quite nice. But it just shows actually the impact of Japanese culture, doesn't it? Actually, across food and things like Hello Kitty and Pokemon. I'm a big Hello Kitty fan, so yeah, it's good. And I think for people to explore and to try new things, that's one of the good benefits of social media. But I hope, Kamali, you're not one of the 617 statistic there.
No, I was way ahead of.
Predated it.
I was way ahead of this trend. The thing
Part of the 27% of sales over that period, eh?
I'll buy mine from another retailer. And again, as we always say, other retailers are available.
They are.
The thing is, though, like social media trends, especially for these kind of what would seem like niche products, this is just kind of common now, isn't it? Like, you constantly get social media kind of re-upping stuff that's been around forever, but suddenly it's super, super popular and super trendy because of socials.
We were discussing before we came on air, another weird one was people taking Pringles and then melting chocolate and pouring them into the tube.
What?
Yeah, I was shocked by this revelation.
I think this needs explaining. What was the trend?
Hey,
I mean, so it was like they were taking a tube of Pringles, so ready salted, melting milk chocolate into it, popping it in the fridge, letting it set, then taking it out and wrapping the cardboard, and so you'd have a block of, crisps in chocolate, and then other weird combinations like the sour cream and white chocolate, and then putting other bits in.
So,
very strange.
Revealing my childhood, I did used to like putting ready salt of crisps with milk chocolate because the salt and the sweet's pretty nice. So
you did predate this.
Maybe I predated that.
Maybe you are the original trendsetter then.
It's often been said, Laura. That I was an original. But I am kind of obsessed with these things because people do really take all of their sort of inspiration now from socials rather than trying them themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to my music taste and how much it's dictated by TikTok these days.
Is it really?
To be honest.
What, because you're like resurfacing stuff that you had?
Yeah, and it sticks in my head and I can never get it out, so then I'm listening to it on loop in my Spotify.
Anything in particular that you want to reveal real quick?
No.
We've got 5 seconds. It's like reading someone's diary, isn't it? Seeing their Spotify taste. Laura Jade, thanks so much. Really good.
Thank you.
Stay with us. Headlines next. Wow.
What's the best thing about being a Sky News journalist?